And this is amazing timing as the Hunter's plea deal falls apart. That suddenly these new charges on Trump just happen to arrive. And then what are they about? Surveillance cameras? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with, like, are those yours? Yeah. Why can't you clear them? I don't understand that. They're not like other people's emails that you then, disappear. But I'll leave that for another time because I'm not a lawyer. I'm more like a game show host.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'll say, Jake, you and I have both gone to law school. I think, we could tell him exactly what's wrong with this hypothesis there.
Yeah. Well, look, the reason why they do crazy stuff like this on Fox News is because they think their audience won't get it, like that they'll buy that. So let me clarify. Trump had already received a subpoena saying, do not destroy evidence. Trump then called Oliveira, we talked about it earlier in today's show, that's the new guy that was charged, and said, destroy evidence. Get rid of the tapes because the government wants them and it'll prove that we did the crime that they're talking about. And then Oliveira went to go talk to the IT guy. The IT guy said, I can't, first of all, I don't even know how to destroy them. Second of all, even if I did, I'm pretty sure we're not supposed to destroy them. Right? Like, this was pretty clear. The government told us not to destroy them, otherwise we go to prison. Now, Greg Gutfeld is admittedly an idiot, but really he doesn't know that? Like, he read that story. Did he read the story? Did he know there was a subpoena? So I think that there's a good chance that Gutfeld knows exactly what Trump did wrong, but he throws that out there because he knows that then the Fox News audience will go to all their friends and family and social media and say, oh, no, he's just erasing his own videos. That's totally okay. That's totally okay. Oh, well, we got the ring on our house, man. Why can't we erase that? You can erase it unless you committed a crime and the cops told you not to erase it. That's hard to understand, not hard to understand, right?
I think the funniest thing about that whole exchange or that whole dialogue is the very last thing he said, where he said, I'm not a lawyer, I'm a game show host, because Donald Trump is a game show host. You know what I'm saying? It's almost as if he was throwing a jab at him right there. Obviously he wasn't. But at the end of the day, Republican voters, Republican politicians could simply move on from Donald Trump. They could simply pick somebody else because after 2024, there's nothing left. Trump ain't running for another office. He's not in by another office. I mean, the House, Senate, anything. He's not running for president again after 2024. He's almost certainly not going to win the general election, as he's almost certainly going to get indicted maybe 2, 3, 5 more times before November comes along. Part of his issues will continue to be campaign finance violations. How much money did he raise for candidates that he endorsed and he barely gave any money to those campaigns? Money that he raised for his legal defenses that he didn't use, all the money that he hoards. Y'all could simply just move on, which is really, I'm curious to see what exactly Republicans are gonna do after 2024. Because it's just endless pivoting, endless kicking the can down the road, endless shifting the goalpost. At first, Trump was innocent, but now he's not. So now we have to say 2 wrongs, in fact, do make a right. Look at Biden, look at the Biden crime family. Look at all this other stuff that's happening. More and more, they're not saying Trump is innocent. They're just, deflecting to say, well, look at what all these other people are doing. When at the end of the day, like I said before, y'all could just move on, but nah, they ain't having that.
So I tweeted or I X'd now, I don't know.
You're right.
Don't say that, you tweeted it.
Yeah, earlier today, and apparently X gonna get it. Anyways, so no, but seriously, I asked the right wingers because my Twitter account is followed by thousands of right wingers, right? And I say, guys, how about a crime in the future? I know you say, oh, whataboutism and Hunter Biden's laptop about any crimes he did in the past. But are you guys okay with letting him commit crimes in the future? Like, what if we find out, for example, that he still has documents, and when the government very clearly said you have to hand over the documents, and is now trying him for not handing over documents? What if he still has them, and would you then say, okay, that's a crime? I read it. Almost every one of them is like, no way, man, no way. Like, he just apparently can commit any crime and they're okay with it. But Jackson's right. I think part of the reason that Greg Gutfeld says what he says there is because they're out of excuses. So they're like, well, these guys are on tape moving the boxes. They told the FBI they weren't moving the boxes, and now it looks like they're probably going to get one of the guys to flip and he's going to say the tech guy, or probably very likely already said it. Then Oliveira's next, and the boss ordered them to delete the evidence, which is a significant crime. So that's why Gutfeld's like, I mean, you can delete evidence, can't you? I'm not a lawyer or anything. I mean, it's your tape, all right. Because that means you're out of excuses. And then the other thing is what I said earlier, which is that they think so poorly of their own audience, and they think they'll buy anything. We'll just tell them, yeah, sure, you can shred evidence. That's not a crime, and they'll believe it.
That's what I'm saying, because I have to be perfectly honest. What Gutfeld said was the stupidest shit I've ever heard in my life. And I have to listen, like I listened to Fox News Idiocracy to make my Rebel HQ videos. I was saying in the break that my recommendeds are just filled with Gutfeld clips on YouTube because of how often I use him and like dismantle his arguments. But you have to be the absolute lowest common denominator to hear him say, well, ongoing litigation, you should be able to just shred your documents, right? You should just be able to delete evidence. I mean, because the federal rules of evidence it's even more, strict than that. If you think there might be potential litigation over a certain event, you can't destroy any potential evidence. You can't destroy any documents, any video footage, any pictures, whatever it might be pertaining to that, even potential future litigation. This was ongoing. He had been indicted and did this. So I mean, to say that to your audience, you have to think that they are the stupidest person. They must forget how to breathe. They're so stupid to buy into that line of thinking.
Yeah, and look, by the way, we're not saying that. Gutfeld's saying that through his actions. And so look, guys, he even threw in something that was amazing there. He's like, oh yeah, like some people deleting things from servers. It was a Hillary Clinton reference. And you know how upset the right wing was about that, right? I mean, she deleted those emails from the server. Lock her up. They chanted literally lock her up. They wanted to put her in prison. They were very gung-ho about it. That is a crime you should go to prison for. Do you know what Trump asked in this exact situation? He asked Oliveira and the IT guy to delete the evidence from the server. Identical. And then, except it's much worse because Hillary Clinton was not subpoenaed at the time, and Hillary Clinton didn't have top secret documents that Trump had, and the government had not asked for them. So Trump's is identical, but much, much worse for all those reasons. And here they are, they're like, oh, let him go, let him go.
Right, and not only is it worse, but then you have all these other instances and all these other cases that are completely unrelated, but just as egregious. And Trump, one of his biggest issues is he's used to dealing with all these civil cases and these civil issues, but now he's got all these federal problems on his head. And I'm really shagged. I mean, do you think he's gonna go to jail? What do y'all think? I don't really necessarily think, but again, all these federal charges, how can you escape? Whoever escapes all of these types of federal charges. So he can do all this pandering to the public that he wants, but in court, like you point out all the time, how you gonna escape all these charges?
So guys, look, if the elites didn't get away with everything in this country, he would definitely go to prison. It's not close. If you're a regular person, they got him dead to rights, man. You got clear evidence that he's destroying evidence. You've got clear evidence that he did not turn over documents. You've got clear evidence that he knew it was classified and he was still sharing it. On and on, let alone the other cases, okay? But ironically, and this is the biggest irony, so that's why I'm glad you asked that question, Jackson. Trump is not gonna go to prison because he's among the elites. So like the MAGA guys go, oh, this is politicized and they're just doing this because he's running for president. There's half truth to that. Like if he wasn't running for office again, I bet they wouldn't have charged him with half these crimes. And is that the right thing to do? No, they should have charged him with these crimes no matter what because he broke those laws. But they never charged the powerful. They never charged the rich, right? And that's why MAGA's like, okay, this is the one time you're gonna charge the rich and powerful? Yes, but what do you want him to do? Just let him go even though we know he broke those laws? So if the 2024 election comes and goes and Trump is out of politics for good, My guess is that they're gonna find a way. They're gonna find a way to make sure he doesn't go to prison. Another Republican can pardon him. I'm telling you, I said this before. There's some chance that if Joe Biden wins, he'll pardon him. They don't let the elites go to jail. It just doesn't happen. And MAGA, I got news for you guys. Your leader is among the elites, okay? You think he's a common man? He ain't even close to common. So ironically, you don't have to worry about a thing. They won't touch a strand of his orange hair because he's actually one of them.
I also think, Cenk, just to your point, that they have a really good argument in their arsenal, which is that there's no jail you can safely house Donald Trump in. He was the president of the United States. Everybody knows who he is. And so I think that even if he is found guilty, they have that card to play, which is you can't send him to such and such prison. He'll probably be murdered or whatever it is. Yeah. And he'll be able to either just have his sentence commuted or he'll be able to serve it out in one of his properties, like we were talking about in the other story about, people being able to just hire their own security system to ensure they stay at home. So I think that he really is in even if he's found guilty, he's in a particularly good position. So
you're right to bring that up, Ray, because number one, it's actually not a security threat, and I could tell you how they could do it super easy. Those white collar prisons are basically summer camp, and I know that because among many reasons, I interviewed Tommy Chong, who was totally unjustifiably in prison back in the Bush days. You remember him, of course, from Cheech and Chong, and it's just so happened that his roommate in prison was the Wolf of Wall Street. And I said, Tommy, how was prison? He's like, oh, it was like a vacation. Me and Jordan played tennis every day. I got to write my book. I got to catch up on life. He's like, no, those white collar prisons, they didn't even have fences. We could walk out if we wanted to, right? So nobody's gonna kill Trump in one of those places, and they could put Secret Service guards with him, et cetera. But Ray is 100% right. They would never send him to prison in that situation anyway. The worst that could possibly happen is they would do house arrest at Mar-a-Lago, which is basically the life he lives now anyway.
Right. Yeah. Just drop it in on somebody's wedding and freestyling on the microphone about how he did everything perfectly while president.
And if he did get charged, then he probably pulled what's the dude from Enron who passed away right before he had to go to jail, right before he had to go to prison. He found a way to pull that, but now his narcissism probably wouldn't allow for that. So he'll probably live to be 150 years old,
despite his numerous. God, the man doesn't take care of himself.
Diet Coke and Big Macs.
Right, and considering his diet, it's shocking that he's still with us today.
Yeah, well, God bless. Yeah, it is what it is, right? And so I agree with you guys. He'll live forever, and by the end, if the best case scenario is he becomes the Rapunzel of Mar-a-Lago, okay? The orange-haired Rapunzel of Mar-a-Lago.
Just let his toupee roll out, right?
Rapunzel, let down your thinning hair.
The problem with him is that if they try to climb using his hair, it ain't gonna work. Those are all hair plugs, as we know from the Ivanka divorce testimony.
Hey everyone, as you all know, coronavirus has been pretty devastating for people's personal finances. The inaction in Congress or the very little relief that was provided by Congress, unfortunately didn't do much to help small businesses that were really, really hurt by being forced to shut down in order to slow the spread of coronavirus. There are 100,000 small businesses that have been closed since the pandemic began. Some of you might feel helpless, but luckily there's this wonderful initiative known as the COVID Rescue Fund. So all you need to do is go to covidrescuefund.org and you'll learn more about how you can donate or how you can vote and promote your favorite small business. And really the whole point here is to offer generous grants to help these small businesses. The COVID Rescue Fund crowdsources up to $100,000 for each individual grant. So we're not talking about a small amount of money. I've seen small businesses in my community shut down, and these are small businesses where I had relationships with the owners, and to watch them lose everything that they've worked so hard for has been absolutely heartbreaking. I really wanted to do something then, and I'm happy to see that there's an initiative that could help people get involved now. Go to covidrescuefund.org and donate. Let's come together and bring back as many small businesses as possible.